Welcome back. And as we continue on in our discussions on managing project teams, um, this segment is going to really focus on Chapter 9, creativity and innovation in teams. And of course, again, this comes from Managing the Team, a guide to managers it's the sixth edition of L. Thompson's book, and the publisher is Pearson. And so I want to make sure that I'm giving credit to her for doing an awesome job for putting this text together. So as we're moving forward now, we want to get into the text right away. And so again, I hope that you're enjoying this series. I hope that it's bringing a lot to the table for you. And I hope that you're able to refer back to it when you're going through things, or you just want to listen again as you're going down the road, or you're at work and you're working, and you wanted to, eliminate some of the noise, but learn at the same time, and taking advantage of the learning opportunities this provides for you. So let's get down to it, brass tacks. Let's go, guys. And so this is, again, managing, Chapter 9, managing project teams, or making a team. Again, it comes from a quick guide for managers. This is Chapter 9 out of Miss Leah L. Thompson's book, Creativity and Innovation. And so as we get to the slides here, let's go forth. And we're talking today about team performance. Again, nature versus nurture. We've all heard that term, I know. Creativity requires a departure from tradition and the appropriate way of conducting business. Creativity, guys, is a characteristic of both individuals and groups. So there are qualities of creative people. They're passionate about specific things. They're motivated to understand the world and are high in epistemic motivation. I may have said that word wrong, but they're hardworking, at least 10 years to develop expertise in their domain. For me, my domain in leadership and management has occurred with 20 plus years of experience in management and leadership. And then I got my PhD in this particular topic in 2009. I have a master's in it, an MBA, and also coming to you with a number of bachelor's degrees that center around management. I really want to know management and leadership as its core and understand the dynamics of it. And so I am very passionate about it. I do research. I've written a book on disruptive leadership and articles on leadership, and we'll probably write many more, especially once I get involved with the students and I see what's going on and what the problems are or the challenges they're having to endure each day. And some of my friends or people that come to me for advice as well, have come to me and asked me about additional things. So I'm quite sure I'll be working with that. I haven't written a textbook like Miss Thompson has written, but I do the shorter version of things. I mean, once I see something has been done and I think they've done a great job, it's no need in reinventing the wheel where that's concerned. So nature versus nurture. Creative combinations of people can be more effective than trying to select creative people. I agree with that. Creativity is more of a function of the right idea at the right time than a chronic disposition. And then for this season or this reason, companies should select people who are passionate about skills in what they do and bring those people together with others who are different in terms of knowledge based and approaches to problem solving. So creativity versus innovation. Now, creativity or ideation is the production of novel and useful ideas, the ability to form new concepts using existing knowledge. Innovation is the realization of novel and useful ideas in the form of products and services. So creativity is the production of novel or useful ideas versus innovation is the realization of those ideas. Convergent versus divergent thinking. There are two kinds or key skills involved in creative thinking. Convergent thinking is thinking that proceeds toward a single answer, ideals evaluated as to their feasibility, practicality, and overall merit. And divergent thinking is thinking that moves outward from the problem in many directions without boundaries, and task conflicts stimulate divergent thinking in teams. Judaism's is Genderism, I'm sorry, is thinking another form of divergent thinking that refers to the ability to welcome conflicting ideas and ambiguity. In writing my comps, I had to talk a lot about genderism and thinking and how that involves in it's centered around leadership. Creativity and innovation, radical versus incremental innovation. Creative ideas fall somewhere between two indices, feasibility and values. Creative synthesis is a process through which innovation occurs by emphasizing affirmation rather than negation and integration of differing perspectives. And so let's look at Exhibit 9.1, continuums of creative ideas based on feasibility and value. And so for high value, we're over on breakthrough and radical. For high visibility, we're looking at breakthrough and disruptive. And for low value, we're looking at foolishness. And so low feasibility is radical and foolishness. And so if you go around the chart here, breakthrough, management needs present orientation, make business case. Disruptive, management needs present orientation and find a champion. Radical, management needs future orientation and protect idea via sunk words or a safe haven. Foolishness, management needs future orientation and boundary testing. So Fink's model of creativity, there's two dimensions in the way he thought about this: creativity and structural connectedness, and four general conceptual domains into which ideas are classified. And that's creative realism, constructive realism, conservative idealism, and creative idealism. And those four generals are charted here: realistic, idealistic, conservative, creative. And so between creative and realistic is creative realism. Between realistic and conservative is conservative realism. And between conservative and idealistic is conservative idealism. And then between idealism and creative is creative idealism. Okay. So evaluating creativity. So what do we do? One common way of evaluating creativity of a person's or a team ideas is via three indices. Fluency, how many ideas a person or a team generates. Now, I generate a lot of them, guys. I mean, my mind constantly is flowing. Flexibility, how many types of idea a person or team generates. And then originality, the ability to generate unusual solutions and unique answers to problems. And believe me, companies really request a lot of both creativity and innovation. Remember, creativity is coming up with ideas. Innovation is the implementation of those items that create those creative items. Exploration versus exploitation, two types of idea processes that companies pursue. And that's exploitation activities such as search, risk-taking, and experimentation around an idea, versus exploitation is ideas that reframe and implement an idea. Brainstorming versus brainwriting. So we're going to talk about this. Okay. Alex Osborne is an advertising executive in the 1950s. He believed that one of the main hindrances to organizational creativity was the premature evaluation of ideas. So Osborne developed the brainstorming process to maximize the quality or quantity of ideas and to defer idea judgment. His rules of brainstorming are on Exhibit 9.4 in a few slides. Osborne believed that the ideas generated by one person in a team could really stimulate ideas in other people in a synergistic fashion known as cognitive stimulation. We use a lot of Mr. Osborne brainstorming back in the late 80s, 90s, 2000s. We did a lot of brainstorming. We would go to a chart, and sometimes in projects now they use brainstorming, but they do it a little differently than the four areas, the T shape, like debit and credit T shape things, charts. And the rules of brainstorming, as exhibited on Exhibit 9.4, include expressiveness. And this is where group members should express any idea that comes to mind, no matter how strange, weird, or fanciful. Group members are encouraged not to be constrained or timid. They should free will whenever possible. Yeah. Non-evaluations, that means do not criticize ideas. Group members should not evaluate any of the ideas in any way during the generation phase, and all ideas should be considered valuable. And then we have quantity. Group members should generate as many ideas as possible, and groups should strive for quantity, as the more ideas, the better. Quantity of ideas increases the probability of finding excellent solutions, and I agree. Building. Because of all the ideas belong to the group, members should try to modify and extend the ideas really suggested by other members whenever possible. So, brainstorming versus nominal group. Most studies have found that solitary brainstorming is more productive than group brainstorming, and both in terms of quality and quantity of ideas. Brainstorming groups are less effective than brainstorming individuals because groups suffer from illusion of productivity. Now, I laugh about that, guys, because groups do suffer. And they were like, well, what are we talking about? Let me just come over here and get these things out of my mind and get them down, and then we can come back to them, okay? And then, so we can see some performance data in Exhibit 9.5. The number of ideas generated, 28 face-to-face brainstorming group, quality percentage of good ideas as judged by the independent expert who did not know whose ideas they were evaluating is 8.9. Now, the same number of people working independently and solitary brainstorming was the quality of ideas went up by 74.5% versus quality when it went up by 12.7%. So this proves the theory, at least with the test group that they evaluated. Brain writing is the simultaneous generation of written ideas. So benefits of brain writing: eliminates production blocking, produces conformity, increases divergent thinking. Written ideas can be shared by the group, discussed and voted on, and lower instances of social loafing. And so we're just saying, while we're brainstorming, we're writing these things down so that we can take a vote on them and see which way they're going to go. And some organizations do this as well, so that they can take a vote and people can have some ideas, but they really want you to map out the ideas in its completeness as to how it's supposed to work, or as close to completeness as possible. And speed storming. Speed storming involves brainstorming in pairs in a round robin fashion. So that means that participants in speed storming sessions have an explicit purpose, time limits, and one-on-one encounters with one another. Electronic brainstorming, also known as EBS, uses information technology to allow members to interact and exchange ideas. And so advantages of electronic brainstorming includes parallel entry of ideas, anonymity, size, proximity, equality, organizational memory, refinement, and evaluation. Some of the disadvantages include losses of interaction and lack of recognition because we're doing it in a virtual environment. Advantages and disadvantages, again, they're outlined here in Exhibit 9.6. Four major problems stifle the effectiveness of team brainstorming. There are Social loafing, meaning we're just having conversation. Hi, Marilyn, how was your day? Oh, I like that dress. Did you see so and so last night on the Grammy Awards or the Emmy Awards? Girl, what you think about that? Conformity. Too many people jumping in and saying, yeah, let's just move with that. And usually those people probably are not involved or engaged in it like they need to be. Production block and coordination problems. We can't get people together to kind of come up and stack hands on this. And then performance matching, downward norm setting. Again, threats to team creativity. What goes on during a typical group brainstorming session? People are often fail to follow or abide by the rules of the brainstorming, which are set in place before the brainstorming starts. Experience inhibition, anxiety, or self-presentational concerns, suffer decreased production, participate in non-productive social wish rules, set their performance benchmarks too low, conform in terms of ideas, conform in terms of rate of idea generations. A way to keep down a lot of this is let's get some of the things out of the way before our meeting even occurs. Provide people with information on who's going to be at the meeting, their backgrounds, and as much information about them as possible. In some of my classes, I try to get as much information on the students that provide me the information before classes even begin. And that helps me immensely to know what I'm about to go into the course working with. Motivational methods and actions that team leaders can take toward our problems inherited to the brainstorming process include set high quality goals, competition, regularity fit, increased individual accountability, and energizing moods. Cognitive methods and actions that team leaders can take to ward off problems inherited in the brainstorming session really include categories, explicit set of rules, feedback, analogies, and episodic memory challenges. So facilitator-led methods that enhance team leaders leaders can take to ward off problems inherited in the brainstorming process really include using trained facilitators, taking brief breaks. Background noise helps concentration. Nominal group technique, Delphi technique, step ladder technique. These are all techniques that can be used. Leader and organizational methods that team leaders can take to ward off problems inherited in the brainstorming session again include diversify the team, fluid membership, meaning different people or the membership can be, today it may be 5, tomorrow we may go down to 4. Organizational networking, making sure that you networked in the organization the right way and brought the right people to the table and have the right sponsors in there. And then team empowerment. And so that's it for this chapter. And in chapter 9, we discussed the process of generating novel and useful ideas, and that is often blocked in teams. We also discussed that most managers really underestimate the process lost in brainstorming teams because they lack a relevant benchmark. And finally, we talked about to adapt to brainstorming efforts by developing hybrid methods that capitalize on and combine team individuals' creative strengths in order to make things happen. And so that was chapter 9 for us. I hope that you got a lot out of that. Some things we probably went back over or we talked about and you said, oh, Dr. Carroll, we already talked about that. But I'm hoping, again, these things help. This particular segment wasn't that long. And so I was glad that I could bring that to you quickly. That's it for this chapter. See you in chapter 10. Take care.